Yeah. I I don't know what society is going to look like if we don't fix it. I don't think it has to be fixed completely, but we at least have to make an adjustment, you know? And I don't know what that looks like. That's a very hard philosophical question. Like, what should society look like? But when I think about society for my kids, it's not just regulation. That's a key part of it, but it's also, enough inherent privacy that people can still go on making their own decisions and have a thoughtful conversation, that whole thing. And I wonder how far astray we're going to get. Because I do talk to people, and I'll use like my family, who they're not at all tech
Mhm.
savvy. They're just kind of run of the mill folks. And I'll catch them saying things. I can tell exactly what you browse on Facebook, or okay, you told me what books you've read recently, and they were all the Amazon bestsellers. Like there were no nuanced books; they're all Amazon bestsellers. So I wonder to myself, how much does that control the person you are? And that's a weird thought. But if you consume certain types of information, you listen to certain types of music, you only watch the same types of videos, then you get this I guess monolithic society that has very little deviation. And that sounds very negative, and I'm not trying to be negative about it, but it's an interesting thought
Yeah.
exercise. That how do you ensure variety when you're all being fed the same exact information, and what's the impact on society? I have no
Yeah,
answer
but
to
are you
this,
really all getting
but
fed the same information? Yes and no. Yeah, a top 10 list, sure. But, my search for Barbie is probably different than, your search for Tonka trucks, although you said you had a daughter.
sure.
I had one of each. We are getting something that is within our wheelhouse. It may not be similar
Hmm.
to each and every one of us. So I can understand, we end up down that singularized rabbit hole because we're getting the same curated features. But I don't know that everybody else is.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I
and
don't know.
it'll be hard. I mean, I think that goes back to one of those original privacy principles of transparency. And it's in all of these laws. If I am in California, I
Yep.
can ask a company, what do you have about me? And what algorithms are you using? How are you deciding to build your profile about me? We live in Georgia.
Yep.
We
That's
can't
where
ask that.
I yeah. They can't ask it at Google. I listened to a really good talk, and it was like no one at Google can tell you how the algorithm works, the search one, because it's been there's some AI going on. It's doing some things by itself. The people who created it are 4 generations ago, so there's some of that too. So it's an interest. I think it's great. The transparency is great, but also like the follow on. How do you act on a request like that is completely foreign to me. I have no idea how someone would
Well,
do
there
that.
are a lot of companies who jumped into that space who are doing data subject access requests, and they've built whole
Yeah.
models on just doing that because it's not easy. I mean, it takes all of the traditional, the life cycle of privacy to be able to do that. You got to know where your data is, what
Yep.
data you have, where it sits, and what it's being used for, and why you have it, and who you're sharing with it, just before you can ever think about a DSAR or data subject request.
Yep.